Hi ladies, it's Mr. O'Sullivan. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 4-5, point slope form of a line. Very sorry that I will not be in again today, January 5th. Still feeling under the weather, but I will be back on Friday. So today's learning target is I can write the equation of a line by using point slope form. This is brand new. We did not cover this in Algebra 1. It's a little confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy. So the equations of lines come in many different forms. You're undoubtedly most familiar with the slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b, where we can see the slope and see the y-intercept. But there's also this thing called point slope form, which is right there. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now you're probably thinking, like, what does this m stand for? And that's still your slope. It's just that this right here, the x1 and y1, those are a point. And the nice thing about this is that it's actually extremely easy to write your equation. The only area where you're doing plugins are right here, here, and here. Like, this stays a y, this stays an x. It's just there as sort of like a placeholder. Now, the point slope form of a line might seem strange at first because of how unfamiliar it is and how familiar you are with slope-intercept, but it's actually extremely easy to use. So for exercise 1, what we're going to do is we're going to use point slope form to write the equation of a line, provided the slopes and the points. So for each example, I'm actually going to rewrite the point slope form. So we know our point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what I said before was you're only plugging in for y1, your slope, and then x1. So how I do this first example is I always just sort of do plugins. So we know what our slope is. Our slope is 4, and that goes where our m is. So I'm going to put a 4 in right here. And now what I'm going to put in for x1 is the x value of my point. So if I look, the point is 5, 7. So my x value is 5 and my y value is 7. So I put my 5 here and my 7 here. So that would be your equation. Y minus 7 equals 4 times x minus 5. That's it. Let's see how we would do another one. And the thing is, you don't have to rearrange it. That is your final answer because we do want to just write it in point slope form. So now in our next example, our slope is -1/2. And our point is -3, 5. So let's go into that filling the blank idea. So y minus a blank equals a blank times x minus a blank. We know our slope is -1/2, so I'm going to put in a -1/2 next to my parentheses. The x value of my point is -3, and the y value of my point is 5. So I now have y minus 5 equals -1/2 times x, but if you notice, I have a double negative, so a minus minus becomes a plus, so this just becomes a +3. So your equation would be y minus 5 equals -1/2 times x plus 3. In C, we do the exact same thing. Our slope is -2 and our point is 4, -10. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to do blanks this time. I'm just going to go ahead and do my substitutions. So y minus the y value of my point, so a -10, so I'm going to do minus -10. My slope is -2, and then the x value of my point is a 4, so I just do -4. Now we clean it up because we don't want to have double negatives or plus minus anywhere. So I'm going to change this negative to a plus. So this becomes y plus 10 equals -2 times x minus 4. And that would be our final answer. Now, in our last example, we have the 4/5 as our slope and our point is -2, -5. So I write y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. If you want, we can do the blanks for this one. We know our slope is 4/5. x value of our point's a -2, and y value of our point's a -5. Now we fix it up to make it look nice and pretty. That minus minus becomes a plus, so now we're dealing with y plus 5. Our slope stays 4/5, and then we get x plus 2 because of that minus minus. Now, if you want, just think of it this way. Whenever you're plugging into point slope for your point, you're basically just doing the opposite. So my 5 is going to turn into a minus. My 7 turns into a minus. -3 is positive. 5 is negative. 4 is negative. -10 is positive. -2 is positive. -5 is positive. So sometimes you can actually use the point slope form of a line to help you with find its slope intercept form. And it's actually pretty easy. For exercise 2, it says, which of the following is an equation of a line that's parallel to y equals 5x minus 3 and passes through the point 4, 11. So if we look, the key math word here is parallel. And we know that for something to be parallel to a line, it has to have the same slope. So if we look at our equation of y equals 5x minus 3, we can see that our slope is 5. So that means if I want to have a parallel line, that slope must also be 5. So now all I do is I just go into my point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And if you look, we know our slope and we know a point they give us. And now we can just plug it in. So we have an x value of 4 and a y value of 11. Our slope is 5. And if we look, that answer does not appear anywhere in our answer choices because all of our answer choices are in slope intercept. So what we have to do is we have to distribute our 5 and then get y by itself. So let's distribute. So if we distribute our 5 to x and -4, we get y minus 11 equals 5x minus 20. And then if I want to get y by itself, I have to add 11 to both sides of my equation. -20 plus 11 is -9. So the equation of a line that's parallel to the equation they gave us and goes through the point 4, 11 is y equals 5x minus 9 for choice 2. Now let's go on to exercise 3. Write an equation of a line that is perpendicular to the line y equals 2/3 x plus 5 and passes through the point 0, 4. So if we look here, it wants to tell us to do a perpendicular line. Now for a perpendicular line, our slope is not the same. We have a negative reciprocal slope. So if you look, the equation they give us, the slope is 2/3. So our perpendicular slope, we flip it and we negate it. So it's going to be -3/2. And it goes through the point 0, 4. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write down our point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now we're going to do our substitutions. We're going to do y minus 4 equals -3/2 times x minus 0. And if you want, you can leave your answer just like this. This is 100% correct. So you now no longer need to write everything in slope-intercept form. You can just leave it in point slope. Now, if you want to put this in slope-intercept form, you would just distribute. So we would get y minus 4 equals -3/2 x, and then you would add 4. So basically your slope-intercept line would be -3/2x plus 4. Exercise 4. Find an equation of a line that's passing through the point 5, 4 and is parallel to the line whose equation is 2x plus y equals 3. So again, parallel means same slope. Now, if we look at the equation they give us, the 2x plus y equal to 3, we do not know our slope because it's not in that y equals mx plus b form. So what we have to do is we need to get y by itself by getting rid of our 2x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides of my equation. And now I have y equals negative 2x plus 3, and I can see that my slope is negative 2. Which means that when I go into my point slope form, it has to have a slope of negative 2 because we want it to be parallel. So we go to our point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We fill in our blanks because we have a point that's 5, 4. So y minus 4 equals negative 2 times x minus 5. Now that's your final answer. You can leave it like this. If you want, you could distribute. Get y minus 4 equals negative 2x plus 10. And then we add 4, and then we get y equals negative 2x plus 14. Both equations mean the exact same thing. They're just written a little differently. All right, now what I'd like you to do is try to attempt your independent practice on this lesson. If you have any questions, please just let me know, and look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.